Tatiana and Jose both have $100 to invest. Tatiana invests her $100 into a bank paying simple interest at 10% per annum, whilst Jose invests his $100 into a different bank paying 10% compound interest per annum. Invest the amount each person has after 3 years. Basically, we're going to look at what is the difference between simple interest compared with compound interest. So let's look at Tatiana. Tatiana, year 0, at the beginning she has $100. End of year 1 she will have $100 plus 10%, and that's 10%, that's the interest at 10% on 100. 0.1 times 100 is 10, so it gives her $10. So altogether she will have at the end of year 1 $110. At the end of year 2 she will have that $110, and then another 10% of the original amount is added on, so she will now have $120. At the end of year 3 she will now have $120, and then 10% of the original amount is then added on, and so therefore in total after 3 years she will have $130. Now looking at Jose, yes, in year 0 he will have $100. At the end of year 1 he will have $100 times 1.1, which is the multiplier for an increase of 10%, which is $110. At the end of year 2 it will be 100 times 1.1 times 1.1, which we write as 1.1 squared, so that's 2 years, and that gives you $121. So now it has $1 more than the simple interest. And then at the end of year 3 it's now going to be $100 times 1.1 times 1.1 times 1.1, which is the same as 1.1 cubed, which gives him $133.10. So how this works, this calculates the interest on the total amount. So here we're doing 100 times 1.1, which is 110. Here we're going to do 110 times 1.1. So it's actually making interest on the interest, and this is how compound interest works. Simple interest is that the interest is only calculated on the original amount. Now there are a couple of formulas. The simple interest one is worth remembering, but the compound interest one probably is not, because it's better to probably just think of it as a percentage increase. So the simple interest formula is I is equal to PRT divided by 100. Now what do each of these things mean? Now P stands for the principal, which is the original amount. R is the interest rate per annum, and T is the time in years. Note, this formula will only give you the interest, so it will only give you this number. If you want to find the total amount, you have to add it to the original amount. A is equal to P1 plus R over 100 power of T. So it's the same thing. P is the principal amount, and 1 plus R over 100 is like the 1.1, which is an increase. This is why it's probably not worth remembering it. And A is the total amount. So this formula does actually give you the total amount at the end of it. This formula that you'd have to remember, this one you could probably get away with not remembering by remembering it that compound interest is a percentage increase. So this has been a video to show you the difference between simple interest and compound interest.